Hello, and welcome to another episode of Myths and Stories, a Destiny 2 lore podcast. We are finishing up our series on Clovis Bray today. So, we ended last time with Clovis Bray doing his fatal upload of his brain into his mainframe to be prepared to be downloaded into the whatever exo he's going to be put into and live on for eternity, finally achieve mortality, him believing he's amongst the gods, having his little personal bout with Maya, his Vex Sundaresh in his head, finally concluded that. Or so we think. Even Vex Sundaresh was like, I'll be with you forever. And he's like, well, whatever, you'll be with the squishy bits. And she's like, that's what you think. So, yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna go into two things today. We were looking through some of the lore entries, and the third Grimoire book that came from Bungie that you can get on the Bungie store is entitled War Machines, and it's all about pretty much everything what we've been kind of covering here. Well, not specifically the Clovis stuff, but a lot of the stuff that we're going to cover, like the Siva, Rasputin, a lot of the Braytech grandchildren. And in it, we found a really cool letter that is, we couldn't find it anywhere on Ishtar Collective, so we think it's a Grimoire exclusive. And we found these before in some of the other series we had done. Like there was an entry between Mara and or it was Mara's reaction to Uldren being killed, I believe.
Yep.
In the Awoken one, that's Grimoire book 4 myth, or is that
yes,
2?
That's 4.
That's 4. So that's it's cool that when if you do end up if you are crazy lore nerds like the two of us, which we're assuming all of you are because you're listening to our podcast, which thank you. Check out those Grimoire books. See if you can get your hands on some of them. There's a lot of really neat art in them, as well as some secret readings, which we're going to start off with today. And Myth, you said this is a letter that Clovis penned to Anna and Wilhelmina.
Yep. So this is a letter that Clovis sent to Anastasia and Wilhelmina, presumably immediately or shortly before his fatal upload.
Because it doesn't have a timestamp or anything on it, right?
No, nothing like that. And I don't necessarily want to call it a confession, or it's just Clovis kind of making a request, but also putting his spin on his own history,
as he does
yeah.
always. What is it? There's a. It's funny that you mentioned that his spin on his own history, because there's a line, and I love this line. I use it a lot from the play Wicked. In one of the songs that the professor says to Elphaba, and he says, we believe all sorts of lies. We call them history. And he goes into like a man's a traitor, or he's a liberator. A rich man's a thief or a philanthropist. And it's all dependent on which label is able to persist throughout history. And so that's I like that you mentioned that here, that Clovis's history is his kind of his own, whatever he feels like it being. So yeah.
Well, certainly not for his own lack of trying to brand himself as he wants to be seen. But yeah, so we're gonna start off tonight with this particular letter because chronologically it's around the same time as the end of our last episode, a tad bit before, and then we're gonna go into some lore readings that come from the lore book called Legacy's Lament, which is also tied to everything that happened on Europa after Clovis's fatal upload.
And we're going to get to meet a really cool character, aren't we?
Yeah, yes we are.
Yeah, let's go!
But so to start off, this letter is titled The Legacy of Genius the blueprint, and the architect. It's like Clovis to have a, 10-word title to his own letter to a family member. But
I was gonna say, is this like the title of his book that was like the theories of blah 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 blah?
it might as well be. But
God damn it, Clovis.
so this is a long letter. So stick with me for a minute. But the letter goes like this. Dearest Anastasia and Wilhelmina, I have faced a great many challenges in my life, suffered losses that I was certain I would never recover from, and bore witness to unspeakable horrors. Yet nothing scares me to my very core as much as dying does. I know you expect answers from me before that happens, and nothing I say will provide the closure you need. But I can tell you why circumstances are what they are. Your mother hates me. That much you know. What happened to your father was tragic and from your mother's perspective, preventable. You must understand the truth. I did everything I could, perhaps more than I should. He was my son, after all. Nothing changes that. But sickness does not discriminate. It comes for us all in time. Do not be confused. Death is an illness, and I know I can cure it. There is a persistent theory that nature's law is the only true law, and to challenge it results in abominations. I reject this principle. I argue that our very existence, our free will, and our independent thought spits in the face of that theory. We are already abominations to nature's plan. That is clear. Yet I am ostracized and labeled an extremist by the scientific community, and worse, by my own family. Everything I have done has been in our family's name, to preserve our legacy and preserve over whatever may come. My distance and isolation are necessary to ensure that I am successful in my efforts. Failure is not an option. Either you see this now and understand me clearly, or you never will. I also impugn that natural law only accounts for what we know of the universe. Power exists out there beyond our natural realm. Sentient beings control the scales of fate. They think they also have the means to control us, but forget that gods are self-made. The Brays will be in the pantheon of those gods. The universe will bend to our will. There is no reason for our light to fade into nothingness. We can endure. We can become timeless. I have no regrets regarding my behavior or actions. You should know by now that I am steadfast in my beliefs. Nothing will prevent me from doing what is right. Look at where it has led Elizabeth and the benefits she has received. I have saved her. It is now my duty to save many more. When I am successful in my current endeavor, all the pain, all the fighting, and all of the hate will be forgotten. It was simply a means to an end. Then we will be beyond it. We will become more, rewriting nature's law to suit our needs. You are Brays. You have no choice. We have no choice in this matter. Do not allow our legacy to fail. You have had many strokes of brilliance in your life, independent thoughts that sparked new ideas to push the world forward. These monumental innovations represent tremendous leaps for mankind. You have made the world cleaner, stronger, and better prepared for unpredictable eventualities. And none of that matters. Someone will surpass you. The world will forget you. Surprised? No matter how many buildings bear your name or advancements you introduce, your time will end. You will become nothing, be nothing, and no one will know or care that you existed. The elder gods of the universe will pay you no mind. They have games to play that are more important than you. Imagine, the name Bray has never been uttered by the pantheon of architects. You are an unknown. Over time, worlds will be born, species will bloom and burst and pollinate foreign fields with their influence, and you will be dysphoric because your briefness was interrupted. They will not mourn for you. You will go quickly like a stone sinking in water, your ripple small and ineffective. Does it not vex you? It should. Perhaps it doesn't have to. You're not like anyone else. Is your legacy not worth preserving? What will you do to ensure that you're not swept away in the dust bowl of time? Beyond thought and sentience lies another plane, the walking dream. Your mind in its current form could not comprehend it. Not every answer you seek is buried in your own mind like a lost artifact waiting to be unearthed. You simply do not have it all. Should someone come along with an offering to give you the inkling you need to set you in the right direction and put you down the right path, you should take it. Take it for all it's worth. This is not merely a suggestion. Something has been left for you. It's waiting, calling. Do you hear it? You will. You have questions, and there are answers. There are gateways to that which you seek. It will provide the blueprint. Just listen to it. The people you think you've failed, the loved ones you think you've lost, you don't really have to care about them. Everything you've done for us. Everything you've ever wanted, you'll get on Europa. Everything you need is there for you. Take it, and don't let anyone else stand in your way. Your fears will be assuaged, your legacy secured, your mind immortalized. Join the architects. They will speak of the name Bray then, and it will echo through all of time and space. The way is clear. The first step is yours to take. Or you can simply beat your head against the wall until nothing remains but a bloody stump. At least then, you would have left a stain behind. And that's the end of that letter.
Jesus. Yeah, that's Clovis. He's very much about that legacy. Like he wants his whole purpose for creating the exos, I think in the beginning, was to have a physical form that would continue on so he could continue making ideas. But I think over time, especially after being introduced to clarity, like, I mean, if he was nuts before, like, he's batshit crazy afterwards. It's his motives, I feel like, changed, and now it became this idea of like, not just like I want a physical body to be able to live longer. I want to literally be immortal. And the idea of that uploading your mind to the for lack of a better term, the cloud.
Yeah.
It's like that essentially you are immortal as long as and I, it's odd to think of that too, like you're immortal so long as the hard drives hold out. Like, I mean, you and I
Right,
both
yeah.
work in technology. We know those things go bad eventually. I mean, server stacks fail. Like you're only as immortal as the physical properties of the things that are keeping you immortal. So yeah, it's that idea of immortality is it's a I don't know. It's a weird concept to me. Just because everything in existence has an endpoint. I mean, even I think of World War II historians that have gone around Europe and have dug up things and yeah, some of the metal's there, but for the most part, that stuff's gone. Like and I mean, these were tanks, these were buildings, these were bombs, these were planes, and all that stuff just has faded away, has rusted away to nothing, and it's almost like the only true immortal thing is the spoken word, like the stories that are passed on from generation to generation, and even those, it's like a game of telephone. Every time it's retold, there's a little tweak here, a little tweak there, maybe a little embellishment here, maybe a little bit is left out there, and so even those stories get changed over time, and that's how we end up with stories of gods of Odin and Thor and these great beings that were so powerful that they could destroy armies by themselves. So yeah, it this whole letter to me is that idea of that legacy, that idea of like, how will I be remembered, and then slowly morphs into that idea of not how will I be remembered, but how will I continue to be relevant? How will I always be relevant for the rest of time, for the rest of existence? And of course, in Clovis's mind, that is the EXO program. That
Yep.
the EXO program is the answer to the question of immortality. And even at the end, there's little bits there that I really like too, like the he's telling him, your loved ones, the things you care about, they don't even matter. Like, none of that matters. The only thing matters is you and your ideas, and it's he's trying to pull on any type of string that he can to get them to Europa, to again continue that Bray legacy, to keep them going, because the two that he's pinned to here, they've done amazing things in the history of Destiny. They've created the Engram, they've created Siva, they've created the Warmind, Rasputin, and helped all those things grow and flourish and evolve. Which of course we're going to cover in our next series after this one. But yeah, it's. But then there's always like throughout the whole letter, there's always that little level of Clovis arrogance. That Clovis, like, haha, I am the greatest. I'm better than you. Yeah, I fucked with my kid, but who cares? It's my son. I wanted him to be better, stronger, faster. Like, any excuse to justify his own actions. It's yeah.
Yep.
Arrogance is. Clovis is a shit.
Yep.
Not the shit. He is a shit. So yeah.
So I don't know if that letter is meant to convince them or is meant to be a like confessional of some sort, or I don't know. But needless to say, that presumably that's what he sends, or at least writes. And, we don't have any evidence if he sent it or not. Shortly before going through his final scan and being uploaded into an exo mind. So that brings us to what happened after that. Anyone that's played Beyond Light knows, or even the current season, knows that Clovis ended up in a giant exo head in the Deep Stone Crypt, where he's been presumably since this time, since the Golden Age.
And if I'm not mistaken, that area that he's in is called Eternity.
I believe it is, yeah.
Kind of fitting.
A little on the nose, but yeah. But there are some things that happened between us rediscovering and reactivating him in Beyond Light and him being there in the first place. And this goes back to the portal to Volantis 2082, which we see again in the Beyond Light campaign. It's explained that portal, which is the one from the Glassway strike, was deactivated until Aramis turned it back on as a means to try and deal with the Guardians closing in on her. So the question is, how did it become deactivated in the first place? So we are going to go through the book called Legacy's Lament that deals quite a bit with that portal, quite a bit with Clovis, and quite a bit with a character that may come as a surprise to some. So without further ado, we're going to start reading through that book. Now, if you're looking up that book on Ishtar Collective, I'm not sure how it displays in-game, but the entries on Ishtar Collective are not in chronological order. And so we have resorted them so that they are in chronological order for the readings. So if they don't quite match up with what you see if you go and look, that's why. They're probably just out of order compared to what we're doing. These entries are all told from the perspective of a different EXO kind of team member or crew member that was working in the Bray Tech facility on Europa. And we're kind of seeing their memories around particular events over the course of about a couple days, and then there's a time jump, so a month total, about what has happened in this facility after Clovis has done his upload. So the first of them is called Recovered Memory from Nox 4. And it goes like this. May 19th, 5 a.m. Another day, another forage into 2082 Volantis. It's always the same. Every time we enter into the glassway where the portal resides, defensive protocols go into effect, portal gets activated, we take out Vex, then Dr. Bray leads our unit inside for further resource collection. I really hope they don't make me go first this time. Front line usually gets picked off right away. Nox, you're taking the lead today, she says. Of course. Understood, Dr. Bray. Portal's activating. Next step should be... Dr. Bray, we have a problem. Dr. Ruiz interrupts. Great, what's wrong now? Talk to me, Dr. Bray replies. Noe 2 noticed a critical error in our surveillance tech on the alien side of the portal. The sensors are offline. Can't tell what's coming through without them. Has that ever happened before? No, it hasn't. Dr. Bray takes a pause, and then, surprisingly, says, Shut it down. We'll need authorization. I'm authorizing it. His authorization. Clovis doesn't trust her to make the big calls. It drives her insane. Listen, Esteban, Clovis is currently on a respirator in a coma. He's likely going to be dead within the next 24 hours, so with all due respect, I'm making the calls now. And then we hear terrible mechanical noises coming from the portal. What was that? Everyone's looking around. Something's coming out. And then explosions everywhere. Minotaur! Fire all cannons, Dr. Bray yells. She's got this under control. The Minotaur's coming through. We're firing. Nothing's working. Maybe she doesn't have this. Rockets! Another Exo screams. Dr. Bray's trying. We're all trying. This thing is something fierce, and it's not alone. We've got goblins, someone exclaims. They keep pouring through non-stop, and I'm firing and firing. This isn't normal. This is far too many. Incoming! Dr. Ruiz screams. What the hell is that? It's like a Vex Hydra, but way bigger, and with a wraparound shield, and it's destroying everything. Shards of other Exos are raining down on us. They just keep coming. No end in sight, and I'm firing and firing every last bullet, but it's not enough. Ruiz, shut it down now, Bray yells. He isn't shutting anything down, because he's just a mangled corpse now, and Bray sees it the same time I do. Evacuate immediately. Go, 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 she shouts as she and a few others run, barely escaping. And I try. I run as far as I can, but it's no use. They're on me now, ripping out my arms, pinning me to the floor. Looks like this is it for me. Maybe I'll be brought back as Knox 5, but if not, well... I close my eyes, and I see a woman smiling at me. She's cooking pierogies. Must be Mom. Can't wait to try 'em. It's good to be home again. And that's the end of that one.
Well, holy shit. Maybe shut down the portal when you're told, Ruiz.
Yeah, you know.
I can't do that without proper authorization. I guess the portal just stays open. This is your fault, Ruiz. So this is a full on. The Vex have become more than curious now.
Yeah.
Now they've because that was the whole thing that and Clovis mentions it too every time that he goes into his explorations of it. That the Vex are no more than curious beings. Like they'll take a few shots every now and then and poke and prod, but nothing major. A hobgoblin here, a goblin there, nothing crazy. But this is a full on okay, now this thing on the other side of the portal is a threat and must be neutralized. Or at least the Vex that's my interpretation of what the Vex has interpreted this portal as.
Yeah, no, I think that's accurate, and I think what might be the trigger for them to turn hostile like this might be receiving a signal from Vex Sundaresh saying,
"Oh yeah,
Clovis is vulnerable. Go get him.
Get him now."
Yeah.
Because it even mentions at the beginning of this one, like he's in a coma, he's gonna be dead soon. Like this is literally happening as his upload is happening.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Yeah. I believe that 100% then.
So they went from normal day at the office to war zone in 30 seconds flat, and now they are retreating with the portal still open and presumably more Vex pouring out of it every second.
Do you think the goblins are there just looking for Bob?
So we see this culminating in the end of Knox 4, and we kind of see, by nature of it being a digital mind, we kind of see their final moments there. It's interesting to know that as an exo, they have the thought of like, well, maybe I'll be back as Knox 5. Which is
like they know that they can be
brought in a fashion, at least.
That's an odd thought, right? Like, oh, I died. That sucks.
I mean, that's Guardians now. Like
that's just Crucible, man. It sucks. I died. All right, I'm gonna go find that motherfucker and I'm gonna go kill him.
Although for the case of Exos, presumably they have their memories reset.
Oh yeah,
so he comes back as Knox 5, but not necessarily the same.
Yeah.
But so needless to say, that was at 5 a.m. on May 19th of whatever year this is, because they don't tell us.
So rude. We almost had it. We almost had a point in time that we could reference everything to. God dang it, Bungie.
So the next one is May 19th at 8 a.m. So a few hours later after this. Something's happened. They won't tell us what just yet, but Elizabeth Bray is here now, looking very beaten up. Wake him up, she demands. Wake him up? He's practically dead. Are you okay, Dr. Bray? You don't look so good, I say. Una, wake him up right now. That tone. She's not playing around. Fine. He's beginning to wake. Thank you. Grandfather, can you hear me? She asks. Elizabeth. The man wheezes from his respirator. He can barely breathe, let alone speak. Why is she bothering him like this at the end of his life? Don't try to speak. Just listen. The glassway has been compromised. We were ambushed by the Vex. They just came through and killed them all, Grandfather. I managed to trigger the remaining defenses on my way out, but they won't hold. The portal is just sitting there, open. They're pouring through. I'm activating the evacuation protocol. Please, give me the codes to do so. My backup, Clovis chokes out. Activate it. But that means I die. Yes. But my time is not yet. I clean up the blood spilling out of his mouth as he talks. Everyone deserves a little dignity on their deathbed. There's no time, Grandfather. We have to evacuate or people die. The old man's eyes say that he knows. Legacy first, Elizabeth, is all he manages to say. She's a bleeding heart beneath it all. Doesn't matter how many times they reset us. Can't lose the essence of what we were at our core. Every exo knows that. Dr. Bray stands, and she turns to leave. Fine. That can't be it, can it? She stops at the door. You'll regret this, whether you live or not. And that's the end of that lore card.
Even on his deathbed, legacy first. Legacy above everything. That just, Jesus, man, like, he doesn't give a shit about anyone in that facility. He just legacy first. That's, yeah.
Yep.
I do also like the that Knox mentions, because this is still being told from Knox, right?
Yes, that one was.
Okay. Presumably Knox 5, because Knox 4 got ripped shit.
Or no, excuse me.
3.
That one was Una.
Una, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, damn, 3 hours to upload and go. Like, Jesus, man, they got this process down. I can't even download an MP3 in 10 minutes. No. But yeah, so Una mentions, there's something at the core of every exo that stays always. With Elizabeth, it's that compassion, right? I believe that's what she said stuck through. So yeah, it's Clovis being Clovis, legacy first, and damn everything else. Buildings burning around him, and legacy first. Yeah.
His probably final words. Legacy first.
Yeah. Final squishy bit words.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
His final human words. So now we have a little bit of a time jump. So that was May 15th, I believe. And now we're jumping to June 3rd is our next entry. And Clovis's backup, quote unquote, has been instituted at this point, which is the giant exo head that we all know and love. And, they've been under siege for weeks now. And we are going to look at the next entry here from the viewpoint of Wen 1. And this is June 3rd, 10:43 a.m. And it goes like this. The walls are shaking again, like thunder. I wonder how deep they've gotten now. Good thing we're so far in. This room was meant to hold. Too thick to breach, supposedly. We'll see if it crumbles under the weight of the Vex. You're worried they'll get in here. It's almost like he can hear what I'm thinking. Then again, who knows what dirty tech he put in our heads. There's only 2 places on Europa I built to be impenetrable, and this room is one of them. Stop worrying and activate the new model, he says. He's breaking protocol again. Every exo and human in this room can see it. Dr. Bray explicitly stated we were to wait for her return. I am the only Dr. Bray you take orders from now. We have to assume that Elizabeth is dead. The talking robot head is just as cold as the old man was. What else would you expect from the psycho who died and made himself into an all-seeing AI? Here's to hoping the unconscious exo in front of us is nothing like the real thing. Now activate him immediately, or I will promptly deactivate you. Okay. I trigger the awakening protocol. The exo's lights light up. It's confused. I remember that feeling. Who am I? Where am I? Where did my skin go? At least we woke up with protocols in place. This guy's entering a war zone. Can't be pleasant. Who am I? Where am I? Am I metal? The new guy asks. Called it. The AI takes the lead. The answers to those questions are rather complicated, and our usual methods of easing you into this reality are not currently at our disposal, so I will attempt simplicity in my responses. The AI goes into a quick explain of where we are, what exos are, how they work, why they're important. And once you've completed your training, there will be a shiny new toy waiting for you to commemorate your accomplishment. Why? Because you're special, unstoppable, a fighter and an intellectual better than all the rest. Nothing in the whole universe will be able to stop you, the AI finishes. I see. That sounds good. And what are you? The new guy asks. I'm glad you asked. I'm Clovis Bray, and you and I are... Why is he awake? A voice demands. Dr. Bray. She's alive. Came in through the tunnel. This should be good. Couple exos trail behind her. Noe 2 and Maya 9. I thought you'd died, Elizabeth, says the AI. So I asked Wen 1 to wake him up. Dr. Bray flashes me an angry look. I ought to unplug the AI bastard. So you broke protocol, she says. I put the protocol in place, Elizabeth. I can break it. I only need someone I trust to initiate the signal. I can sense Dr. Bray's frustration. The Vex are everywhere. We should be evacuating Europa. There's a group of survivors pinned down in Bunker E15. I need help rescuing them. That can wait. I've equipped Charon's Crossing with an advanced signaling technology connected to the Warmind in his bunkers. If we match that to the communication signal used by the Vex, we could theoretically lead them off-world and salvage what we've built here. But the Vex have cut off internal communication channels and cloud memory collection. You'll need to do it manually, Elizabeth, the AI says. That'll lead the Vex straight to Mars, Earth. You've said it yourself, the Vex desire only annihilation. You're talking about billions of lives lost. I will play no part in that, she says. My sweet, naive granddaughter. Humanity never stood a chance against the Vex, and those lives are expendable. Besides, each one lost is an exo gained, another soldier to fight against the Vex. The future is exo. It's Bray. Our legacy, that's all that matters, the AI replies. The new guy's listening. He may be a bit of a blank slate, but he's not digging any of this. Dr. Bray's jaw is clenched, something fierce. Looks like she's gonna attack, and I don't blame her. Perhaps our legacy should be burnt to the ground, she says. Elizabeth, are you planning to activate the Morning Star? Once I get everyone off-world, I'll do whatever I have to. We won't lose any more lives over this. Hell yeah, lady. Everybody listen up. Exos and able-bodied humans, I need you. Grab any weapons you can and let's go, she says. We're all in. Weapons in hand, we start piling into the tunnel, even the new guy. But Dr. Bray is not about him. Hold on there. You haven't gone through any initiation protocols. You're not ready, she says. If there are lives to be saved, that's where I need to be, the new guy replies. He's oddly determined. Where you need to be, the AI interjects, is with your family. Me. Every instinct I have is telling me to reject you, the Exo retorts. Nice, new guy. I bet if Dr. Bray could smile, she'd be doing it right now. She grabs a gun out of a cache and tosses it to the new guy. Perhaps you're ready after all, she says. The new guy stands steady, handles the weapon well. He's definitely ready for this, protocols be damned. Elizabeth, the AI says. He wants the last word, as usual. I will protect our legacy. That makes two of us, she says, and closes the tunnel door behind us. Badass. And that's the end of that one.
Mere legacy, mere legacy, mere legacy. This guy, seriously, like, fucking Clovis, like, you shithead. You giant mechanical shithead. Like, literally and figuratively. Like, come on. This is ridiculous. Okay, so who the hell's the new guy?
I don't know. It seems to be some kind of maybe not experimental, but enhanced frame, combat specific. But
he's got the right idea.
Highly
Fuck
intellectual.
That giant talking AI.
Right, like don't like anything that giant floating head is saying.
Nope.
And to just to make sure that it's clear for everybody. So Elsie was gone, presumably for a significant amount of time, off on a mission elsewhere in Europa, trying to save people, I assume.
Possibly to Bunker 15. I love that they
Quite
mentioned
possibly.
the lost sector in there. That was so
that's
cool.
So she was off there. Clovis, in his shiny giant head, decided she's probably dead. I'm the boss now. Fire up this experimental exo. And so they did, because they didn't have much of a choice at the time. So they fire up this exo. He gets the rundown, the very quick history, I assume, on what the exo are and why they're important and all that.
He's got our podcast in 5 minutes or less.
So he gets the the upload about the bare minimum about why he should care about himself and the exos, and then Elsie comes back. And for those that didn't quite follow, Clovis was saying, like, are you going to activate Morningstar? And Elsie tells him, I'll do whatever I have to do. For anyone that doesn't know this already, the Morningstar is the space station that you go up to in the Deep Stone Crypt Raid. The Morningstar is equipped with nuclear reactors with the sole purpose of crashing into Europa and destroying the planet.
Yep.
As like a emergency leave nothing standing kind of security measure. And so Elsie's saying, like, I'm going to protect our legacy by getting rid of all this awful shit that we have done by activating Morningstar and blowing you and this whole rock away, Vex included.
Yeah. I mean, now Vex portals are fucky though. Like, does blowing up the physical portion of it does that shut it down, or does that?
I mean, if
Or
they've
does
been
like
turning it on and off prior to this, I assume
it's
it
got
would,
right?
yeah, like if it loses power, it would shut down.
I would hope so. I would hope that like once it's open, it's not like a tear in reality where it's just like, oh, that's there now. Got to deal with that.
Yeah.
The whole rock and everything it explodes. Everything goes into the portal, but the portal is still sitting there, just spitting out Vex one at a time.
Just
like,
into space.
well, yeah, just out into fucking nothing. Like, shit, that didn't work at all.
So the other thing worth pointing out here is the Clovis AI specifically tells the new guy, quote unquote, that there's a shiny toy for him that only he can use because he's this special frame, because he's been built to be this, combat centric type of frame. So just keep that in mind, because that does come up later on. So our next entry is from the perspective of Wesley 3. And this is on June 3rd at 2:12 p.m. So roughly 3.5 hours or so after the last entry. And this one goes like this. Haven't been here in a while. Had me working on that satellite dish last time. Where are we? The new Exo asks. He always has so many questions. Fine, I'll bite. Charon's Crossing. Many comm stations for Eventide to connect with the rest of the Sol system, I say. This is the place that AI mentioned. I thought we weren't coming here. Dr. Bray steps in. We're just making sure Clovis can't get what he wants. I'm sending a distress call, and then we're jamming all external comm links. We'll meet back up with the others when we're done here. The new Exo's still a bit confused. He's got a million questions. When it comes to the Brays, we all do. Wesley, did you forget why I brought you? Dr. Bray interjects. I didn't forget, just distracted. I was waiting for you to send the signal, Dr. Bray, I reply. Drop the formalities, Wes. Just prep the jammer, please. Okay, getting to it. New Exo's standing guard at the door. Dr. Bray brought him as extra muscle, she claims. I think she just doesn't want him out of her sight. So the AI called you granddaughter, the new Exo says. He's not holding back anymore. Wonder if she'll tell him. That he did, she says. And he called me family. So you and I are related? Something like that. You don't want to tell me? We shouldn't discuss an identity upload without proper protocol because it could cause unwanted side effects. I may have been activated today, but I'm not stupid. What aren't you telling me? We all know the truth. Just tell the poor guy. Dr. Bray sighs. Unlike Clovis, I have no intention of guiding your fate. If it were up to me, you wouldn't exist in the first place. That was harsh. New Exo looks hurt. I just want to understand why I'm here. Dr. Bray lets up a bit. Look, I'm sorry, but you should realize how lucky you are. You have a second chance here. Trust me when I tell you you are far better off not knowing. So you're deciding for me too, like Clovis. That got her. I am not Clovis. My attention switches back to the task in front of me. Something's wrong with these systems. Sorry to cut this exciting chat short, but our whole comm system is being overridden, I say. Clovis. Dr. Bray is furious. That damned liar. Our internal comm systems aren't down at all. He's going to get billions of people killed. Screw this. We have to get everyone on that evac ship immediately, and then I will deal with the Vex and Clovis. I'll end all of this for good. Wow. She's actually going to do it. She's going to blow up the whole damn moon. This family is insane. I have to get out of here. And I never want to see another Bray again. And that's the end of that one.
I don't blame you, man. Those Brays are crazy. They're crazy, I tell you. She blew up a moon. Or she wants to blow up a moon. Hasn't done it yet, but she wants to. Yeah. Of course, Clovis has... God damn this man. Like, he doesn't give a shit. It's all about him, all about legacy, all about everything.
Yep. He's like, protect our planet. We'll divert them to other planets.
Yeah.
So that we stay safe. And it's, whatever the cost, it's worth it because we're protecting us and we're the most important.
I do love that the new guy is trying to put stuff together.
Yeah.
Hey, I called you granddaughter, and he called me family. So what does that make us? I'm curious too. Like, what does that make us?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, honestly, to see like he's also not taking her shit.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, so you're gonna decide for me now, just like he was going to.
Got him.
I love that. I may have just woken up today, but I'm not stupid.
I'm not stupid, lady. Yeah, no. And then I do love. Oh man, I love this line though, where she lets up a bit and she's like, "I'm sorry, but you should realize how lucky you are. You have a second chance here." So it's like there's obviously like when an exo wakes up, there's a set of protocols that goes into place. Part of those protocols is essentially telling them who they were in life.
Wow.
So like
who Clovis thinks they should know they were in their previous life. Yeah.
Right? Like that's what I was getting at. Like, how much did they leave out of that? Like how much is like Wesley 1? How much of Wesley 1 is actually Wesley?
Right.
Like,
well, I mean, he admitted to tampering with Elsie's what memories Elsie got, but when she was first resurrected.
Right. And it's Elsie is the only exo that doesn't have a number.
Yes, technically.
I've tried to figure that out. Like,
we will get some answers to that as we go through actually these lore cards, or kind of. But we already know technically she's Elsie 2.
Right.
Clovis killed Elsie 1.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to name her Elsie 2 because then she's going to wonder, like, what happened the first time?
That exact thought was going through my head was like, okay, so when an exo wakes up, they know that they're named another number, so they've got to know, like, well, what was number 2? What was number 1? What was number, like, God, like, the more and more I think about this, resing as an exo is traumatizing. No wonder why they had so many problems getting it to work.
Yeah.
And even getting it to work was kind of like this like kit bashed bullshit with help from darkness. Like that's what the hell?
So that one was at 2:12 p.m. on June 3rd. The next one, which is the Memories of Reba 3, is June 3rd at 5:01 p.m. So roughly 3 hours after the last one. And so this one goes like this. Elsie, Dr. Bray just arrived with some bad news. The Clovis AI is sending the Vex off-world. She's got a plan to stop it, but won't pull the trigger till we're all safe. I admire her. We had some bad news of our own to give in return. We tried to evacuate everyone in Bunker E15, but it was too late. Vex had killed everyone in there. It was horrific. Dr. Bray says she's forming a plan to reach the evac ships, but she's been sitting in silence for the last 5 minutes. I think she feels guilty for not getting back to the bunker in time, or maybe she's thinking about how this whole Vex takeover is partly her fault in the first place, facilitating the forages to Volantis, killing countless Vex herself. If only she knew the truth, what Clovis did to her. I've been dying to tell her, but I haven't, because, well, I didn't want to end up like her. But I can barely stand it. We were friends, good friends. Now she only knows me as Reba 3. Oh, here she goes. Listen up, everyone. The Vex have to be in the tunnels by now, so we're going by foot in the snow to get to the ship. Our destination is 55 degrees north, 44 degrees west. In case you get lost, I want every exo to turn in their infrasensors on and ensure their weapons are loaded and ready. We will get all of you off-world, I promise. Dr. Bray has always been eagerly empathetic, but she's never been in a place to act it until now. She takes the lead position, with that new exo at her side. And we're off. It's dark and windy. The infrasensors help us see Vex every few meters through this snowstorm. We get the drop each time, but for how long? There's gunfire. I've spoken too soon. I've got 2 on my left. More gunfire. I've got them. More shouts. More shots. They've got me. Reba's down! More gunfire hailing. The new exo steps in front of me. Thank you for the cover, but you're about 10 seconds too late, and I can't move anymore. Dr. Bray kneels next to me. Reba, I'm sorry. It's what we signed up for, isn't it? I say. Not really, though. We signed up to live forever. I'm just trying to be supportive of others as I lay dying. This damn empathy protocol. It's what made Elsie and I such good friends. I'll recover your memory bank from the archives, I promise, she says. I doubt it. But if she does manage to get back into the lab... Elsie. Bank E1, 815. It's in his office. That's the best I can do for her. Because it's... fading. And that's the end of that one.
That's so sad. I wasn't ready for that ending. We now know that exos really can die.
Until they get rezzed again or rebuilt.
God damn it. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's the other thing too, and that Reba mentions here. Like, Reba knows that this is Elsie 2. So
Yes.
Presumably there are others that know that this is Elsie 2. And everyone just has to keep quiet about it. That's being rezzed, like, and rebooted is fucky. Like,
Yeah.
how much stuff are you supposed to like keep from it's like, I don't know, it's like going to work and like, 2 of your coworkers have slept together and everybody knows it, but nobody's allowed to talk about it, but everyone knows it. It's such a weird experience as an exo.
So the memory for Reba was at 5 p.m. The next one, which is Hector 6, is at 9:30 p.m. the same day. So 4.5 hours later. And this one goes like this. Can't believe we're back in Eventide. The place is in ruins. Sad to see it this way, but I need to get off Europa. Rumor is Dr. Bray is going to blow up the whole place. Evac ships in sight at 11 o'clock. Thanks for the call out, nameless XO. Everyone hold, Dr. Bray says and points out the Vex around the evac ship. We're going to have to do this carefully, she says. Everyone. Elizabeth, a familiar voice says. Oh no, it's the AI. He's overridden all of our comms. We can all hear him. Do not step foot on that ship. Piss off, grandfather, she snaps. And you, my new friend, what will you do? The AI asks. He's talking to the nameless one now. What the hell is he planning? Dr. Bray looks to the nameless XO. She shakes her head, signaling him not to say anything. But he looks mad. Seemed mad at her since they got here. Tell me who I am, and I'll stay behind, the XO says. Really? Family drama? Dr. Bray is furious. We don't have time for this. My friend, I'm surprised you haven't figured it out by now, the AI responds. I'm Clovis Bray, like you, the XO says. That's right, Clovis 1, the AI says, sounding almost giddy. But I can't remember anything about my life. By design, you were stripped down to your most basic emotional form, like all XOs. But help me keep your friends from leaving, and I will tell you everything about your life. There's a pause at that. Dr. Bray shakes her head at Clovis 1. Please, she starts. We don't need another Clovis. I've seen her speak sincerely before, but this goes way beyond that. This feels more like begging. Clovis 1 and Dr. Bray share a look. And then, piss off, old man, Clovis 1 says into his comms. And Dr. Bray is utterly thrilled. We all are. So you still refuse to acknowledge your God. So be it, the AI says. What the hell does that mean? Explosion. Systems offline. And that's the end of that one.
Let's go, Clovis 1! Let's go! God damn. Piss off, old man. Let's go! Man, that's... Whew! I was excited. I was really excited for that one. So they're at the ship, like they're ready to go, and it was kind of obvious the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that hard to put together.
Right. So now this is actually interesting because this kind of brings up like a couple points. The first one that I think of is the idea of being stripped down to like the most basic emotional form. So that that really, they are literally stripping like all memories of, so anything that an XO remembers of the previous life is all just been told to him, and they're just basically supposed to accept it, I'm assuming.
Seems like it.
And then the idea of Clovis 1 and Clovis AI. What's
Yeah.
the difference between the two?
So I think my guess is that Clovis AI is is what it says, artificial intelligence. I think the AI is a copy of the original Clovis that was made from his brain scan. Not
Like a
necessarily
true copy, like not a
right,
stripped down copy.
right, a true copy, the man with all the memories and consciousness intact, but and maybe this is why he's in a large exo head and not a normal exo, because
Right.
like that version of him isn't compatible with a normal exo body
And
because
that
of
was always
DER and
my
everything.
well, so that was always my question of like, why is this Clovis AI in this giant head? And then my other thought was like, well, maybe he truly wanted to preserve himself and not be infected by darkness or anything like that. Like to be a true Clovis, you know what I mean? Like nothing to taint the legacy that is Clovis Bray type thing. You know what I mean? Like
Right, yeah.
that's that's what I feel like is this giant talking head AI is I don't want to say a truer version of Clovis, but I maybe
I kind of think it is. Like a truer version of Clovis the man.
yeah. Whereas like Clovis won the Exo is just as what it says is the base emotional form, which is again weird to me because it's like what actually is an Exo? Is an Exo a person? Is an Exo a human being? Is it like if all it is just base firing impulses type thing? Like is becoming an Exo actual immortality, or is it just
I mean,
a
there's
copy?
a lot
Like
of philosophical baggage there.
you know what I'm saying? Like this is
um
crazy.
I mean, I guess if I were to try and equate it to something, I would equate it to, I don't think it's it when they say base emotional, you know, the base emotional package, I don't think they mean that they're completely empty and that they inform them of things. I think it's the personality, the core of who they are as far as their um I don't even want to say desires, but their traits, like
Is it like Guardian Resing?
I
Like
kind of think in a
there's like
way,
a basic thing there
yeah,
that the
like
ghost sees and is like I want this as a guardian. And so like in the exo form it's like well this is the basic thing that makes up this person, all of their life experiences and stuff be damned type thing, but the person is this base form.
yeah, I think comparing it to Guardian Resurrection is probably pretty close. I mean, look at Crow and Aldrin. They have a lot of the same habits and the same
Yeah.
features, like the same character traits, but things that happened to Aldrin in his life kind of had him go down a path that Crow is not, or it doesn't
Yeah.
intend to. Um,
Which
Same kind of
and
thing.
it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that too, because this Clovis, you know, piss off, old man. He's not going down this same path that original that Clovis Zero would have gone
Right.
down. Like he's about like let's save these people, let's evacuate, let's get the hell off this rock and blow it to smithereens. Whereas like the Clovis Zero is like no, do not set foot on the ship, and presumably kills all of them or attempts to or something.
Yeah, it causes an explosion of some sort. Um, and like even when he was first, that first entry where Clovis One was woken up, they, the person we were viewing the situation through the eyes of was saying like, new guy's not liking what he's hearing from
Yeah.
the Clovis A. So even from the get go, he was kind of not okay with it. Um, and I guess another example that is something that we could attribute to things that happen today, although very rarely, I think, someone that has amnesia for whatever reason, that
Right.
you know,
like coming out of a coma or something like that.
right, like they don't, they can have different decisions than they would have previously, but in a lot of cases, uh, the personality traits are the same. If someone was very diligent and was very like everything needs to be in its place and everything needs to be clean, like those kinds of things still come through most of the time.
It's always intrigued me with stuff like that because I've always wondered like if they have amnesia, how do they remember how to talk? How do they remember what language is? How do they remember like what grammar structure is? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, those are things that we as humans take years to develop. Like,
But then they become subconscious, like at the
yeah,
subconscious. We just don't have to think about it outside of like a second language, maybe.
right. And then like if somebody goes through amnesia and they wake up, could they speak a different language all of a sudden? Like it's so fascinating to me. It's so intriguing and weird and unknown. And
Yeah.
now we have these exos that are doing the same thing. And I'm like, study it. Study this fake thing that doesn't exist, please.
Yeah. So, but all that aside, Clovis 1 is not vibing with Clovis AI, much to everybody's relief.
Good for you, Clovis One.
Right, good for you. But unfortunately, that has caused a retaliation. And the Clovis AI has now caused an explosion of some sort, and presumably killed at least Hector in this case, and maybe others. So the next entry that we are going to read is from the point of view of Maya 9, and it is 10 minutes later, 9:45 instead of 9:34. So about 10 minutes after this explosion, we see things from Maya 9's point of view. And that one goes like this. The ringing. It's starting to even out. I get back to my feet. Our evac ship is gone. The AI destroyed it. Nearly killed us in the process. In fact, I think he got some of us. He did. Oh, God, Hector. And he's not the only one. What did he do? Clovis One asks. We're all wondering the same thing, all experiencing the same shock. He helps Dr. Bray to her feet. She's pretty beaten up as well. Grandfather, you monster, is the only thing she can bring herself to say. He's on our comms again. A necessary evil granddaughter. Now, as I said before, the Vex will follow the signal off-world, and when they're all gone, we can close the portal and resume production. If you want to survive in the meantime, I would suggest coming back to exoscience. To me. I don't think any of us are eager to do that. Especially not Dr. Bray. She's leaning on Clovis One for support. I've never seen her so defeated. He won? She utters. Don't say that. Not yet, Clovis One replies. He's got some fire in him still. There's nothing more we can do. The AI has outplayed us. We can shut off that portal. And how do you think we're going to do that? Look at us. We're barely standing. When Clovis woke me, he told me I was special, said he had a powerful weapon for me, called me unstoppable. But I need my training first. And she stares at him like he's crazy, not yet convinced. This is our fault, Elsie. Regardless of what we look like now, we're Brays. Without us, these people would all still be alive. We owe it to them to fight to our last breath. Guy's got a point. Dr. Bray nods. Hell, I'm nodding. Everyone still alive is in. Let's do this. And that's the end of that one.
Let's go. You know, me in a battle, man. This is getting me pumped, man. This is, I don't know. This is like the subconscious military in me that's like, battle time. Let's go, get pumped. Let's rock and roll. Like, yes, let's go. Let's shut this portal off. Man, I like Clovis 1. I like Clovis 1.
And it's interesting because you can see a hint of kind of a purer form of Clovis Bray's like need for family connection, need
Yeah.
for family responsibility, but in a
Yeah.
different way. He's like, we did this, we fix it,
Yeah.
instead of,
Yeah.
we're the best, we survive.
Yeah. None of this legacy crap. This like, God, let's go. Let's go shut off a portal, man. There's 60 billion Vex pouring through. Fuck it. Let's go. I'm pumped, man.
So the next one that we're going to read is from the point of view of a team member named Anjoli7. And this is the following morning at 1 a.m. So 3 hours and some change since the last one. And this one goes like this. So the AI doesn't care if we live or die. Okay then, let's take matters into our own hands. It's hard to stay quiet with all of us packed into Clovis's office. Didn't get here without a fight, though. Even the secret tunnel we snuck through was rampant with Vex. Lost more of us on the way. They're everywhere here, too, but fortunately, the walls and windows of Clovis's office are reinforced to handle this kind of thing. Spare no expense, he always said. Thought it only ever seemed to apply to himself. Clovis One's been strapped in, running through the EXO training protocol. His stats are beyond what we have ever seen, breaking records left and right, nearly breaking the programs themselves. Then again, of course he is. Clovis built him that way. The guy wanted to be the best, dead or alive. If I were Vex, I'd be turning tail and running for my life, Clovis One says, rising from the training module. Let's put you to the test then, Dr. Bray says, and points to a locked weapon cabinet. Inside are 2 weapons. One is a glimmering pulse rifle, the other a brilliant sword with a blade like a chainsaw. Thing looks like it could cut through titanium. We tried to bypass the cabinet's security while Clovis One was training, but no luck. The weapons cabinet scans Clovis One as he approaches. Welcome back, Clovis, it says as it unlocks. He takes the sword in hand and smiles. I think you should take that one, Clovis One tells Dr. Bray. Should I now? How else are we going to look awesome taking the Vex down together? She nods, grabs the rifle and slings it over her shoulder. Looks pretty badass. Dr. Bray grabs something else from the cabinet and pockets it. Looks like a memory bank. Why does she need that? How does it feel? Dr. Bray asks. Like it was made for me, Clovis One says, admiring the craftsmanship of the sword. In fact, it was, a voice booms over the PA system. The AI again, always watching, always listening. You know how strong you are now. This is likely suicide. The Vex truly have disrupted the cloud memory collection system, so your memory banks are no longer transmitting data moment to moment. Anyone who dies out there will be rebuilt here from their previous imprint. Then we take the imprints now and live with it. Some will stay here to keep bringing the rest of us back, Dr. Bray says. She makes a good point. Rapid memory degradation aside, the Vex are many and they are cunning. It won't be long before they catch on and come after you here. If you're to do this, you'd best fight with everything you've got. Something lights up outside the office and down the hall. I've unlocked the armory. Foolish as you may be, I'd be the bigger fool not to support you in trying. That doesn't forgive what you've done. People died. People we can't bring back, Dr. Bray says. She doesn't back down. I seek no forgiveness, Elizabeth. Only a promise. Always an angle with this guy. Do not destroy the portal. Who said anything about destroying it? The AI says, You, the first time you tried. First time? The memory bank you just slipped into your pocket belonged to Elizabeth I. Dr. Bray shakes her head. Why? Because I wanted you on my side. Clovis I is mad. It's too late for that. Dr. Bray puts a hand on his shoulder, calms him down. We won't destroy it, Clovis, she says, winking at Clovis I. Well then, stock up, everyone. You have quite the fight ahead of you. And that's the end of that one.
Let's go! God, I'm getting pumped. Man, Jesus. So the two weapons there. One's got to be no time to explain.
I think so, yeah.
And the other's got to be Lament.
Yep.
The sword.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, I mean, there's only one sword in Destiny with a fucking chainsaw
yeah.
on it. Like, come on. Like, come on. Yeah. So I mean, this is a really cool moment. I think this is Clovis I, the Exo, finally connecting with Elsie, and again, like he straight up tells her that memory bank that you just slipped in your pocket that belonged to Elizabeth I. So the AI is now told Elizabeth, you have been reset at least once.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
And from Clovis, the AI's point of view, this has reached the point where it's clear he can't do anything to stop them. So he's either going to sit and watch all his work be murdered by the Vex and the problem won't be fixed, or he's going to reluctantly help them so long as they don't destroy the portal.
Wink,
which,
wink.
Yeah, which Elsie's like, sure, I won't do that.
I won't do that at all, grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, Clovis I has got me pumped, man. I am like the whole scene like of them sitting in like I can just so I know where this office is. It's literally in Exoscience. You can go visit it in game. It's God, I'm trying. It's like on the way to Eternity. It's this little enclosed space, and all I'm thinking of is like there's 10 guys in this room. One guy sitting in a pod looking like Neo from the Matrix, just like I know kung fu. And then like Elsie leans in and show me. And then they're in a training simulator. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole vibe I've got from this. And then but the whole time there's like 3,000 Vex outside the windows, and they're just like pew pew pew. But that does make sense now why you can sit inside that office and nothing can shoot through the glass and kill you. Like I now fully understand that room because of this. But yeah, this is awesome, man. This is like open the armory. Let's go. Either kill everything or die trying.
So, the other important thing to take away from this is that, as Clovis has said, and this is interesting, the cloud backup system, essentially, for the Exos is down, is not operational, which means previously they were like their brains were auto-saving every second.
Yeah.
And uploading the newest version of themselves up to this cloud, this storage bank. And now that's not happening. So if they die, if they're brought back, if a new exobody is created, and they become Anjoli 8 or I forget the other names off the top of my head, but if they become another one, they're only going to have whoever they were when they entered this room as their last backup.
It's see, this is the problem with cloud gaming. When you hit a save point and then like your internet connection drops out, well, now you just lost that 2 hours of gaming. Sucks to suck. In this case, you've literally lost 2 hours of your life.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
And so Elsie tells them, everybody do a scan of yourself right now. We have like, this is the moment we'll all come back to.
Like a base point, yeah.
And we're going to leave 1 or 2 people here to essentially just continually pump out new versions as people fall.
I love that. Like, she's just like, fuck it, I've got a save point. I'll reload this shit over and over again. Like,
yeah.
She's like, okay, well, cloud gaming's not working. All right, save point, local save, rock and roll. Let's go. Yeah. I love this. This is getting me super pumped, man.
That entry was at 1 a.m. The next entry is at 6 a.m. So 5 hours later, that they've taken some time to get everything squared away, do the do that training for Clovis 1, get everything prepared, because this is it. This is the assault. It all comes down to them pushing the Vex back. And it goes like this. We storm Europa with everything we have. I've never seen anything like it. His strength, agility, unmatched. Vex after Vex sliced through like butter. That sword of his wailing like a banshee seeking vengeance, carrying the weight of thousands of lost souls. It seems like a pain lingers inside Clovis 1, as if he fights not just for those we've lost, but to fill a void that was occupied by fear in a previous life. Likely the same fear that brought every one of us to Europa and opened the gates of hell. That void begins to fill once again, this time not with fear, but with love. Dr. Bray stands valiantly alongside him, rifle in hand, leading the charge with ferocity and strength of will. These are the leaders we needed, leaders guided by hope. And we fall, but we rise. 1, 2, 3, 6, 10, we fight alongside them, those of us who can make our way across Europa and into the glassway where the portal resides. We fall again and rise again. 11, 14, 17, 20, over and over. We fight, we fall, we rise, rinse and repeat. 21, 24, 27, 30. Every time we get a little bit closer, every time more and more Vex bodies pile up, it infuriates them. They flow faster, they fight harder, their numbers increase. They know what we're after, they throw everything at us. But Clovis 30 and Dr. Bray are unrelenting. Sword slicing effortlessly, stroke after stroke, rifle blaring like thunder, bullet after bullet, we fall and we rise again. 31, 35, 38, 40. The constant reboots aren't without sacrifice. A number of memory banks begin to fry from rapid overuse. A few of us are never coming back. We know this, and still we rise again. 41, 42, 43. We finally make it to the inner chamber of the glassway, where the portal resides. It's barely visible, blocked by the horde of Vex that defend and pour from it. In the midst of it all is a giant Vex, the one Dr. Bray told us about. A floating doomsday Vex with the wraparound shield that resembles a Hydra. There is no fear in their faces in the midst of all this. The 2 Brays stand strong. They rally the few of us that remain, lead us towards a task far beyond daunting, one that should by all rights be impossible. But they show us the truth, that with enough courage and compassion anything is possible. Together, they are the lament that carries the voices of every soul lost to these mindless machines. With Clovis 43's final strike, the blade shatters into pieces, and he doesn't care, because the deed is done. As the final piece of that monstrous Hydra hits the ground, we burst into cheers. The very few of us that remain, Dr. Bray lets me do the honors. After all, I was there when this all started. The command runs. The portal shuts off. We did it. And now, we destroy it, Clovis 43 says. He wants it gone for good. No, Dr. Bray says. You know what this did. It has to go. Clovis, you, me, and every other exo, we deserve the life we were promised. If this portal falls and we die, we lose that life. And if we're gone and the Vex find some other way back, humanity is doomed. So let's shut it down. Hell, let's swallow the damn key. But the portal stays. Clovis 43 sighs. I sure hope I don't live to regret this. Same here, she says. And that's the end of that one.
God, yes! Woo! Yeah! Yay! Yay! Clovis won and Elsie and kicking teeth and taking names. Let's go! Oh man, I'm super pumped up now, man. I don't know what to do with all this energy. I can't read these like epic battles and just be like, oh, that was nice. We'll put that one on the shelf and now we'll go to bed. No, that's not happening.
Oh, that was a fun one to read for sure.
God, we fall, we rise again. Like, oh, let's go. God, that was good. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
I have nothing to say about this. This was just fucking awesome is what this was.
Pretty much. There's not a whole lot to like dissect here. It's just
nope.
It's just great.
I do like at the end though where it's like let's blow this thing the fuck up and Elsie's like, "No, we made a promise. All these people here, like there is a promise to be made to continue their life, to let them continue living, and without this portal we can't do that." So like I get it, like it's what do they call that, like two sides of the same coin type thing. Like on one side you're like, okay, cool, we end it forever, but then we all die. Like we can't live forever now because we won't have more Vex milk to create exos again, because at the end of the day, to make an exo requires Vex milk. So yeah, it's
a double-edged sword, and it's not just the people in the troop. It's not just the people that have successfully fought through to shut this gate down that she's talking about. It's all of the minds in the data banks,
right,
waiting to be reborn as an exo. To just be born, like, man. So is evil and terrible as this portal has been, she, like, again, Elsie is kind of coming back to that. These people literally gave up their lives or entrusted their lives to us. We're responsible for them. We can't just remove the promise that we made to them.
Yeah. Yep. I like that. I really, really like that.
Little did she know that the collapse was going to happen and none of that would matter anyway, but...
Right. Like, hindsight's 20/20 type thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the giant hive mind, is that the same one that we fight in the Glassway?
Well, I mean, they destroyed it.
Is. Right.
So,
but I mean, the Vex are Vex. Like, right, they could build another one.
They could rebuild it. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case.
Because what they describe is very similar to what we see there. Like the giant fucking Hydra, the one with
the rotating shields. Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it is.
Anti-barrier doesn't work on.
Well, and I guess that's a good point of comparison, because to Guardians, to us in game, Glassway Strike is no big deal unless it's like
Right.
on Grandmaster or
On
something.
I was about to say maybe on Grandmaster. Grandmaster has a word to say with you.
Right. But generally speaking, no big deal. Now imagine instead of a guardian, though, who can regen their health and be resurrected and has superpowers, it was just a bunch of humans in robot bodies with normal ass guns,
Yeah.
or normal for the golden age. Like, and
Yeah.
they had to fight through essentially the entire Glassway Strike with nothing but
Yeah.
Vex and then fight the boss. Like, it is a pretty monumental thing. So
Yeah.
they did pretty good.
I'd say so.
But we have one last entry in this book. And this one is many days later. So just under 2 weeks, about a week and a half later, after they successfully close off the portal. And this one is from the perspective of Clovis 43, because they went through 43 different bodies during that fight. And it goes like this. So it's come to this, I say, trying to be cheeky. Come to what? Elsie asks. I didn't bring you back to exoscience just to take a stroll through a snowstorm, I say. She laughs. No, I didn't think you did. I have a gift for you. Through those doors. He's through those doors. Exactly. I pat her on the shoulder before we walk inside to find Clovis AI all alone. If it isn't the saviors of Europa, done cleaning up the rest of the colony? The AI asks. Just about, I say, nodding to Elsie. The AI knows what's coming. You don't have to do this, Clovis 1. It's 43 now, and my name isn't Clovis, not anymore. And I look to Elsie. Do the honors? Gladly. She steps toward the main console, scans in. But he tries to plead. We're not letting the snake oil words land on slick ears ever again. She enters a series of complex code into the console and then says the final magic words. Deactivate artificial intelligence. And the light in the giant Exo's eyes goes out. And if Elsie could smile, I know it would be huge right now. Well then, she says, can we finally get off this icy hell moon? Not quite yet. I've got one last request. You're sure about this? This is the last of the radiolarian fluid, you know, she says. Many of the souls we lost at the hands of the Vex and the terror of Clovis were gone for good, but we managed to bring back a few. Got them all off-world. Now it's just us. Soon to part ways forever. I get her apprehension. Elsie finally gets a grandfather worth her time, and now I'm about to get a fresh reboot. She deserves to know why. When we added Bank E1815 to your current imprint, all those memories came back to you. About your family. Sister, brother, mother, father, the pain, the loss, the guilt. Yes. Elsie, I caused that. You're not him. I'll always be the ghost of him, no matter how hard we try to ignore it. And you deserve to be free from that person. She bows her head, which tells me she agrees. and it pains me to no end. There was a world where we were a happy family, but this isn't it, and we both know it. I place a tablet in front of her. What's this? It's his journal. Yours, if you want it. Lock it away, if you don't. It's mostly encrypted anyway. I'd read a bit. The kind of person I was. Fear-driven. Obsessed with legacy. I won't become that again. Not again. It's time for you and your siblings to rebuild the Bray legacy the right way, or tear the whole damn thing down. And I can see how badly she wants to. Maybe she will someday. All right then, she says. I don't really know how to say goodbye, but she does. She pulls me in for the first hug I've ever had, holds me tight. We share the moment, a reverie of what could have been, a passing glance through the looking glass. Wish I could shed a tear right now. Doesn't matter. I feel it anyway. She does too. Do me a favor, I ask. Anything. That nickname the other Exos gave me. Add it to my imprint with my number. She laughs. It's good to hear it one more time. You really like it, don't you? What can I say? It's growing on me. Okay then. Banshee. And I step into the pod, and the doors close, and I give her a little wave. Let's see what Banshee 44 has in store. And that's the end of that one.
Boom! Mic drop. Banshee 44, gunsmith of the tower, is Clovis fucking Bray.
Yep.
Boom. Brains are exploding across the universe. Yeah, I loved as much as the Clovis story, like through 90% of it is this like, fuck you guy, I hate you, I don't want anything to do with you. These last little bits, this Clovis one into Banshee 44 turning is like the greatest thing that could have ever, like, yay, happy ending, like it's like a Disney story. Yay, everyone gets to smile and be at the party. Yeah, except for mom and dad who are dead.
Well, and I mean,
just
yes,
like a Disney story,
but well, ouch.
right. That got real quick, didn't it? Oh shit! I gotta stop watching Frozen, man. It's ridiculous.
But so, as it's implied, this is a final reboot, and without any of the memories. It's a clean slate. Banshee 44 has no memory of the other 43 Clovises that he was. And is also why he has memory issues in general, because 44 is getting a little high for exo brains to deal with.
Well, there's a scan in the tower. I think it's like right underneath him that says like it's a terminal. It's and it says Banshee's tried to sign in so many times as Banshee 42. So like he doesn't even know that he was Clovis.
No.
Like I think until you do the quest chain for Lament, like obviously eventually you are led into the giant area where the Clovis AI brain thing is, and Lament's sitting there in the middle, and you pick it up and you start swinging it and killing people and rock and rolling with it, and then you bring it to Banshee 44, and it triggers some familiarity with it, and I think he eventually, I want to say during the quest he eventually realizes that he was Clovis, or you tell him he was Clovis, and he's like, but that was a different lifetime or something. So he's completely written that off as like he's not Clovis. Like it's it was so good during Beyond Light. Like I remember when I first got to the office, and I remember the trailers, and one of our clanmates, Keaston, he and I were kind of going back and forth, like, oh, what could this be? What could that be? And the one thing that we kept remembering from the trailer was the eye, right? The giant AI eyeball. And we were like, that's got to be the final boss. It's got to be Clovis or something like that. And then to find like, oh, he's just an AI thing on the side. But then like when you get to that office, there's a blueprint of that giant AI sitting on the desk, and a little tiny Banshee 44 on his desk.
Yep.
And it's there's so many subtle things throughout the entire Beyond Light story that really really brought that whole thing to life, at least for me. And so
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
to have this as like the final moments of Clovis and the beginning of Banshee 44, it's fucking awesome.
Is pretty cool. And the Banshee is not a guardian, I don't think.
Right.
So
Right.
he has presumably been Banshee 44 since
For
near the end of the Golden
years,
Age.
centuries,
Yeah.
at least 1600 years according to Petra.
Yep.
That's a long ass fucking time to make a bunch of memories and forget a bunch of shit. No wonder why he's got dementia.
But him being, Clovis and having still possessing the intellect of Clovis, the intellectual capability, it makes so much sense that you can just bring pretty much any piece of weaponry to him,
Yep.
whether it's alien or otherwise, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know how to deal with
Yep.
this."
Hey, let's shine this up. Hey, let's fix this, replace that. All right, there you go. Now
Right.
here's your catalyst. And you're just like, catalyst? What the fuck does that mean? Oh my God, this weapon is amazing. Yeah, yeah.
So, with that is the end of
That's it.
our Clovis Bray / Exo portion of our Bray
The
Tech
Bray
series.
legacy.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we're making our own legacy. Legacy is what we decided. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I'm super glad that we were able to do that one. I know a lot of like, I know we've got some shout outs tonight for it too. Like several people are excited about this one as well. And like I said, this is the end of the Clovis portion, but we're gonna keep talking about Brays. Like I believe our next one is are we doing Siva or are we doing Rasputin next?
Siva and Wilhelmina Bray
Yep.
are going to be the next focus. That is probably not going to be nearly as long as this the one about Clovis was. So we're essentially the thought is we're going to do kind of the origins of Siva, and then after we get past that, we'll go into Rasputin, because Rasputin and Siva kind of connect at a point.
They do.
And they continue, the final bits of Siva are along the story of Rasputin. So we'll start with Siva's inception, and then we'll switch over to Rasputin. Siva will come back in at some point, and we'll continue it out from there.
But still all Bray focused.
All Bray
all
focused.
All of this is the grandchildren of the Bray grandchildren, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, let's get some shout outs. What you got?
Yeah. So, we have a few to say the
Yay.
least. You guys have been very talkative this week, which has been awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So the first one I'm going to go over today, and all of these come to us from Twitter this time around. The first one comes to us from a Billionaire Boss Battles. Is there?
Let's go. Starting off strong.
So they say, pretty sure y'all called it in your Osiris and Nezarec episode on Osiris being the new mentor with Strand based on this last trailer that Bungie dropped.
We absolutely did call it, and I mentioned it to Myth as soon as I saw the trailer, and I was like, dude, we called it. Like, he's absolutely... So, like, Osiris, he's got to be the first Darkness Guardian, which made me think of something else, too. Elsie can wield stasis. Like, we know she can. There's the whole cutscene in Beyond Light. She can wield stasis, but she's not a Guardian either.
Nope.
So, like, I mean, Darkness, pretty much anyone can wield.
It seems that way, because we look at... the people we know for sure have had it prior to, prior to everyone getting stasis. The Drifter, who has a ghost, but it's kind of a kit bashed ghost at this point.
I mean,
Eris,
it can't talk anymore, right?
right? Eris Morn, who was a previous light bearer but gained stasis after she was lightless, after the death
Right.
of her ghost. Elsie, who, as far as we know, has never been resurrected by a guardian. And we discovered through the lore cards from uh, I'm blanking on the uh, exotic auto rifle for Lightfall pre-ordering.
Oh, the Quicksilver.
Quicksilver. Yeah, from Quicksilver, we know that she discovered the puka, the little fish, much
Yep.
later, after she had already been through multiple histories and presumably has had control of stasis prior to meeting her little fish friend. So he or she was not the catalyst for Elsie.
Yeah.
And now Osiris, and now we don't know if Osiris can wield Strand. He may just be, directing us on how to approach discovering it ourselves. Like, he may be giving us the exercises. These are the mental, things that you should be keeping in mind while you're exploring this very dangerous power. But that doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean he has it. Although I
Right.
wouldn't be surprised if he learns how to use it too.
I would think so. To me that just seems like once a light bearer, always a light bearer type thing. Like that drive never goes away to want to help humanity and save people. And so, if you lose one power, you're going to look somewhere to find another power. At least to me, that's what I feel like Osiris would do. As would any guardian, I think. I mean, obviously, you're Eris Morn. I mean, she lost one power and is like, I'm not going to give up on saving humanity, even if I am the Dark Queen of Brooding. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, second shout out tonight comes to us from Dova Stars on Twitter, who says, "My SO has been listening for a while, and I finally dived in for this crazy Bray series. It's been a wild ride so far, and I very much look forward to each week. Thanks for sharing the lore and putting it out in a way that is fun and easy to understand. Can't wait for more."
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. This Bray stuff it's super cool, and like most of it is only in a especially like Clovis's journal. The only way to get that, well, I guess it is in a digital format now, but originally the only way to get that was to get the collector's edition of Beyond Light, which I know I've got it. Myth, do you have that one, or I don't remember if you
I
have that one or
don't,
not.
unfortunately.
Okay. But yeah, the journal was absolutely fantastic. It was like when we first got it, my wife and I just sat on the couch and I just kind of like read it to her aloud, almost like Myth is reading it to all of you guys. And it was terrible. Like you get to certain points, obviously the whole murder scene in the thing with Vex Sundaresh and like I can squeeze your spine and you will die. Like yeah, that was freaky. But yeah, and then of course then the whole ARG of like you get a little piece of a puzzle and you put it into a thing and it becomes like bits of shredded paper which is literally what the ARG was, is like you had one strand of a shredded piece of a journal entry and you had to piece it together with the guys to your left and right, literally picking shards out of a shredder and like, okay, hey, this piece goes here. Oh, hey, I've got a word here. Okay, cool. We've got a start point. And that's how like the final entries were discovered. So yeah, all the collector's editions always have these really cool ARGs that come with them. And that one for Clovis was really neat to be like, hey, I've got a shredded scrap of paper. What does it mean? Well, on its own, it means nothing. But as like you start getting more and more bits of it, now it's a whole journal entry.
Yeah, so we've been talking about doing something Clovis slash Exo slash Rasputin related. I feel like since we started doing these, so we were
Yeah,
very much happy for the excuse with the season to really focus on
absolutely.
this subject and dig into it. And it's been a lot of fun. So I'm glad
It
that
really has.
you're enjoying it as well.
Yay! Thank you.
So the next one comes to us from the X-Files podcast.
Oh my God!
Yeah, from one
A
podcast to another.
From what the hell? The truth is out there, Myth.
So they say, quick question. Clovis's wolf dream. referring to the one last episode, I believe.
Where he's like hanging over his dead corpse,
Yeah.
his dead children and stuff.
Yeah, they say, "Are we sure that this isn't a message from the traveler? It sounds like it in some
Ooh,
parts, and we know the traveler speaks in dreams. Just a thought. Love to hear your take. Keep up the good work."
I like it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a valid theory. I don't see anything wrong with that theory. I guess I've never thought of it like that. Like I've always thought of Clovis as just being like this evil shit guy and like nobody trying to correct him. But the traveler was around during this. Like he even mentions like, "Oh, we don't need to put our faith in that stupid thing." But I mean, there's nothing to say that the traveler wasn't able to talk to people. Like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I like that theory.
Now there's two kind of sections from that dream sequence that, in particular, that I think really kind of lend some evidence to this being a message from the traveler. The first section being Clovis saying to the other wolf in his dream, uh, "You never did a thing to help me, but not when my son died, not when my granddaughter fell ill. I had to do it all myself. You never even spoke."
Ooh. I always thought he was talking to his wife, but
Right.
he could absolutely have been talking to the traveler. Because the traveler at this point in time during the Golden Age is like this benevolent thing, like it's terraforming worlds and shit. Like, oh man, that's a good theory.
It is. The thing I don't know though is, at this point in time during the Golden Age, is there a precedent for the traveler having spoke to people before? Like, is
I
that,
don't think there is.
like, should Clovis be expecting the traveler to have that capability at all, or is he knows it's powerful and therefore is angry it didn't do anything? Like,
I don't know.
I'm not sure if there was a speaker at this time. I don't think there was.
No, no, no. I don't think there was at all. Because I don't think the speaker came around until till the Guardians, till way after the dark
Yeah.
the
Yeah, no,
dark
I
ages.
think you're right. So it's hard. I guess I could definitely see that being the case, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to be like, well, he's angry that the traveler didn't do anything, but if the traveler's literally never done anything like this before, why would he be angry at it? You know?
Sure, sure. I can see that.
Yeah. The next line though, in response to Clovis saying this at the other wolf, is the she wolf saying, "The best voices never let themselves be heard. This lesson is worth teaching again and again. The choice is never mine, it is always yours."
I mean,
Which,
that could absolutely be the trap. Like,
yeah,
because the traveler, like, and again, kind of zooming forward in the timeline, traveler reses, or the traveler released the ghost to res the guardians, and the guardians are never told what to do. They're given suggestions. Like in the Drifter, they're like, "Hey, we need to go to this last city," and the Drifter's like, "Nah, fuck that. I ain't following that." So I mean, like, the choice is always yours. Like that's a man. This theory is
I
this
could
thing's got some legs, man.
I could really see it going either way. This could be Clovis's subconscious struggling with himself. Like, this could be, his good half, the half that Banshee inherited.
I was going to say the half that became Banshee.
Right. It could be that piece of him saying, like, you did this. You had the choice to stop this or prevent, not do it at all in the first place, but you continued. You should take responsibility. Or it could absolutely be a message from the traveler. So I think the theory has legs. I don't know that we can state definitively one way or the other, but it's a cool thing to think about for sure.
I like it.
Yeah. So the next and final shout out for the evening comes to us from Ben, who I have to point out has the at the Great Mutato, which
Let's go.
I think is wonderful. I don't know if that means anything, but it sounds
You
fun to
say
say.
potato, I say mutato.
So Ben and I on Twitter actually had a little bit of a discussion. But the particular one I wanted to focus on for the shout out was them saying, I just finished a re-listen to Dark and Light, currently redoing The Awoken while waiting for new episodes. The Bray series has been great, so chilling at times. Myth, your readings are on point, and Zor is also making some great points of his own. Keep it up.
Yay!
So thank
I'm
you for
starting to
that.
make connections. It's finally happening. It's only taken a year or 2 or 3, but I'm finally getting it.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah, yeah. My little squirrel brain can't contain all this information in one spot. I try, but it doesn't always work.
But the conversation, and I'm not going to go through every bullet point, but the main overarching conversation that we had was Ben had made the point that Light resurrects guardians without a choice, and Dark offers a choice. Light gives you free will, and the Dark doesn't gives you none. And he was pulling that from something we had said during our Books of Sorrow episode 4. And while I still think some of that is true, my viewpoints have changed a little bit. And I think that it's more so that light equals forgiveness and a clean slate for a second chance at being the best version of yourself.
Yep. You get all the base parts of yourself, all those base emotions, kind of like the exos, but then you are given the choice or you as that base slate has the options now to make better choices or to have better choices presented to you.
Yeah, so light is forgiveness, and I think dark is retribution. It's having power to enact retribution against those that have wronged you and those that have challenged your right to exist. It allows you to remember what has been done to you to avoid being hurt in the future.
Yeah. Or to use that past, like you were saying, as a weapon to weaponize your what emotions, your memories, your past, your experiences, like
your past traumas, really.
Yes, yep. To be able to weaponize that against any future thing that comes in your path.
So, but Ben also asked, and I think there are probably others that want to know, if we had ideas for doing things like the Dark Future, or the story of Ares 1, and some kind of filler episodes in between some of the longer series. And both of those are definitely on our radar. Dark Future and Ares 1 for sure. We've also looked, we've got plans for things like Shayura and doing character pieces on Ikora and Osiris and some of that. So
every once in a while we get like a week break in between stuff where it's like, hey, we've got a week or two before the next season starts and we've just finished this series. What can we cover in a week or two that we don't get overwhelmed or something like that? Which oddly enough, we're kind of like right at that cusp, but we already have a bunch of stuff planned. So be prepared for double episode possibly coming in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, depending on how things work out with launch of Lightfall, and we may have to do double uploads for a week or two.
Definitely get a double, yeah. But yeah, no. Particularly the Dark Future, since that is essentially Elsie's the lore. I think we're going to cover that one as part of the Bray stuff that we're doing because she is obviously a Bray. So yeah, I for sure that one is a bigger blip and closer blip on our radar than Ares 1. But I do like the Ares 1 story as well. Like that's a good one too. That it's a good standalone story. That's like a good one episode. So yeah, definitely on our radar to do stuff like that. And again, like the Shayura stuff, that's a really cool story. Yeah, all these little stories that are like 1-2 episodes. We love doing those as like an in between. Especially when like because Destiny's like any other live service game, it has its lulls, it has its downtimes, and so like when it comes to those point where it's like where there's no real story being covered, there's no real anything here, there, or anywhere. Let's do a quick one. Let's do a neat little like Like our very first episode, the Penguins of Europa. It's a cute story that is actually still relevant today. With the Micah 10 being the guardian for all hunter ghosts for some reason. So yeah, we do love those little ones too.
Yeah, absolutely. And small teaser. Ares 1 may be a little more connected to Bray Tech than you might imagine, and so we might hear a little bit about them in an upcoming portion of this mega series. But no, thank you to everybody that left comments and to those that leave reviews for us on Apple Podcasts and Audible and Spotify and all the places. Thank you so much. That means a bunch to us.
Absolutely.
If you're so inclined and you want to drop us a comment like these fine folks did, or leave a review somewhere, rate us what you think we're worth, and you may hear yourself on a shout out in an episode.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, you got anything else, Smith?
No, that's it for tonight.
Alrighty. Well, then from all of us lore daddies to all of you guardians out there, we'll see you next time.